Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this tutorial on making chamise. Okay, if you're wondering what a chamise is, it's just for, I've made a suit which is in this color, and I didn't sew the lining with it. The fabric is thin, so I'm going to sew almost like a similar to a camise, just to wear underneath the dress so that it's not see-through. So just a little bit of a know-how about the fabric. I couldn't find anything that was matching the fabric. I didn't want to go out and purchase the fabric since I have so many pieces and so many fabrics lying around. So I just decided to use this fabric, which was just a spare fabric, which is actually a dupatta fabric, and it has these almost like silvery dots on it. They're not stones, they're just little blobs of just like a decorative thing. Now those are going to show through the dress as well, but I'm not really bothered because there is something that I want to talk about whilst I do the teaching on this. So for anyone who's interested in my little story, they can leave the volume on, and if you are not interested in the story, then I would suggest to mute the volume, because you can watch just the sewing. That's entirely up to you. So that's just a little bit of a pre-warning. Okay, what I want to talk about is wastefulness, and you often hear me talking about using leftover pieces, making suits out of anything and everything, and really we should all be compromising and not being wasteful. I think one of the biggest problems we have in this day and age is we tend to overly spend. Many times we spend into resources that we don't have. We tend to borrow money. We tend to, even, God forbid, go to unhalal means to obtain the money in order to spend it lavishly. It's a weakness that I can actually relate to, because in my stupidity and in my stupidity days I have done the same. I've spent money which I didn't have, and then got myself into problems, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it, because I was fortunate enough to be blessed with family and also friends, and also ability to actually work myself out of it. Now not everybody is as fortunate, and depending on your circumstances, sometimes you can end up struggling and getting yourself into strife, which is unwarranted, and you know what, we can all do without. Now one of the biggest expenses that most of us women have is clothing, and we tend to buy willy-nilly. Whatever we see, we fall in love with it, and only to go home and realize, oh my god, what have I gone and purchased? This was definitely not worth the money that I've spent on it. So I think many of you will relate to that, and I would like to hear from viewers who actually will have been through similar experiences as myself, where you've gone and got yourself into debts which you've had problems, you have problems repaying, and many a times these are, sometimes they're all our own faults, because if we don't get ourselves into those situations in the first place, then there's no such a thing as a victim of circumstances, because somewhere along the line we only became victims because of our own stupidity. And as women, there's many obligations that are not upon us, but we actually put those obligations upon ourselves, and unnecessarily go and dig a grave for ourselves. And I'm sure many of the sisters watching this have been through similar experiences. So that was just a little bit of and I like to compromise, and I like to make stuff myself. and I like to suggest others to do the same, rather than go out, like example of this particular dupatta that I'm using to make this chamise. I could have gone out and purchased the fabric, but unnecessarily I would have ended up spending where I didn't really need to. Now even the suit with this, alhamdulillah, what I've gone and done is, somewhere along the line in the past I've sewn stuff and the fabrics have been left, and luckily I had them stashed somewhere safe, and I was able to manage to make the suit out of that. Now even then I do feel guilty, and I don't like to spend, but then I do this for teaching and so on. So never be ungrateful for what you've got, and if you haven't got it, then compromise, jazz up your old stuff. There's plenty of videos to help you along in doing that, and you know, rather than going out and buying it, invest in your future. Meaning that if you were going to buy a suit for £20, and if you can spend £5 to jazz up something that you've already got, donate the 15 to a good cause, and for that you have invested it so wisely that you will continuously get that reward multiplied by 700 times, or you know, I'm not quite sure what percent rate it is, but anybody interested should look up how much of a reward it is. I don't know whether it's 70 times or 700 times. Well, anyway, back to the story now. Okay, so there is a story that I want to relate, and it's a very old story. The authenticity of the story, I am not 100%, but I have heard it, so I am relating it as I have heard it. Okay, it's about a man a very long time ago. So it's like thousands of years ago, and this man came to a house, and he knocked on the door. It was an old man, and he knocked on the door, and the lady who opened the door, he quizzed her about the owner of the house. So he asked about the man who owned the house, and then his next question was, how is your situation? And the woman started to complain and started saying, oh, our situation is very bad, we are in a really bad strife, and we're finding it hard to manage, and you know, she gave lots and lots of complaints to this man. So this man is about to leave, and he tells the woman, can you give a message to the owner of the house when he comes home? And he gives her the message, and the message is that tell him to get rid of the what is the name? I'm trying to think of the right name. Do you know, as you walk through the door has on top of it the, I don't know, threshold of the door. I'm not able to word this right, but anyway, he tells her to give that message to get rid of the lintel in the door, or however you want to use it. Anyway, he goes away, and her husband comes home, and the husband has a feeling that somebody's come to the house. So he asks, did anyone come today? And she says, yes, a very old man came, and he said, did he leave any message for me? And he says, yes. She says to him, yes, he left a message for you to get rid of the plinth or the lintel in the door. So the man says to his wife, well, that was my father, and basically what he told me to do was to divorce you. So anyway, he divorces her, and then he gets remarried. So when he gets remarried, after a while, this old man comes back to the house, and he knocks on the door, and the lady of the house opens the door, and he asks her for the whereabouts of the owner of the house, and she says, well, he's out. So then he asks, how is your situation? How are you managing? Are you okay? Is your family okay? Are you financially secure? And the lady says, Alhamdulillah, we haven't got much, but what we have, we're thankful for it, and we're blessed. So the man leaves a message for the owner of the house, and he leaves, and he says to her that when the owner of the house comes, give him a message that a man came, and he left a message that the lintel in the door is of very good quality, and keep hold of it. Okay, so he's left, and the owner of the house, her husband, comes back, and he asks her, has anybody come to the house today? And she says, yes, an old man came, and he left a message for you. And he says, oh, well, what did he say? And she says, well, he said that the lintel in on your door is of very good quality, and keep it, don't let go of it. So he relays the story to her, and he says, well, that was my father, and he's approved you, and he thinks that you're of very good quality, and you're very grateful, and to keep you. Now the story related, I'd love to find it, and I'd love to pass it on. Well, anyway, the story is that the man who came, the old man, was Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the house that he came to was the house of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, and his wife, his first wife, was ungrateful and full of complaints, and Ibrahim alayhi salam, being a prophet of Allah, did not approve of the way she, became unthankful to the Lord for granting her everything that she had, and she complained a lot. His other wife was grateful, and for the little that they had, she had appreciation, and she showed it. So the moral of the story is that we should always be thankful for what we have, and thank Allah Ta'ala for what He's given us, and be resourceful and obedient, and look after what Allah Ta'ala has given us, because times can change, and you never know when hard times are going to come, and you're going to end up in that position where you need it. Now in my lifetime, I've been through hard times, good times and bad times, and Alhamdulillah, I'm thankful for Allah Ta'ala putting me through this test that I went through when I had the financial problems, because had I not gone through that, maybe I would never have realized, and I would never have appreciated what I have. And I'm thankful to Allah Ta'ala. I'm not stingy, and I'm not greedy or anything, but I don't like wasting, and I like to spend the money, because I know ultimately I am going to be questioned about it. So anything that I waste unnecessarily without thinking about it, I will have to account for it, and I would hate to be in that position on the day of judgment where I have to give. I mean, already I feel bad, because the amount of money and the amount of we spend on clothes alone is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So my advice would be, think very, very carefully and spend wisely. Unnecessarily, all these designer suits, and it's so hard when a lot of people bring clothes to me for sewing, and I just feel so bad that a lot of them, they'll be not even getting the full wear and tear out of them. They'll wear them a couple of times, and then these clothes will go in charity bags, and even the people that these clothes go off to as charity, they don't need the clothes as charity, they need money, and they need other, they need essentials like household things and food, and and yet we're giving, you know, even in charity we're supposed to give what we like for ourselves. And this is not charity, that when we're fed up with something, we give it to charity, and because we want a new wardrobe. So anyway, I hope you found my story. I'm not a very good narrator of stories, but I just wanted to share. You know, when I originally heard this, it was so beautiful. I don't know whether it was by Brother Naveed or who the speaker was, but it was relayed so beautifully. So if any of you get the opportunity, by all means, try and look for it, try and locate it. If I find it myself, I will try and put the original up as well. And I'm sure you will all love to hear the, you know, well narrated version rather than me giving a bad interpretation. Anyway, but it should make us think. The whole moral of the story is that, you know, it should make us really think, and we should be thinking of where we're spending our money, how we spend our time. That's another one. You know, half the time, I mean, I feel sorry for people who just sit in front of the telly or even sit on the computer, right, watching me. Unless you're learning something, you know, I would not consider even watching my videos as fruitful. So right, I'm just going to quickly overlock this, and then it's just, whilst doing this, what I've done is I've attached the sleeves, I've done the neckline, and I'm just going to do the side seams, and basically that's going to be it. Nice suit made out from nothing, and I just hope that you all get inspired and you know, make your own. So do comment whether you find my narration boring and disturbing, or whether you found any good aspects out of it. If you do feel generous and thingy, donate, even if it's a small amount. You know, put a charity box or something and donate £1 or a 50 pence or a rupee or whatever, and consider it as a sadqa jari, and remember me in your du'as as well, inshallah. And I'm just hopeful that you will all do that, and I'll sort of get a little bit of the reward as well. I'm being greedy here.